Hello, tapped in souls, and welcome to our second part of the quest. Over the next 6 days, we will be focusing on creating safety through tapping. Safety is the foundation for healing, transformation, and going for your dreams. As part of this next phase, today I will be reviewing your Soul Shift Challenge, plus, you will discover the power of your desires and boundaries. Now, on to your Soul Shift Challenge. Over the next 6 days, I invite you to practice communicating to one person each day what your desires and boundaries are. For many of us growing up as a child, we may not have been taught appropriate boundaries, and we may have been shamed for communicating our desires. It is important to practice desires and boundaries in order for us to live a life that is aligned to our highest calling. You may discover that one or both of these requests are uncomfortable for you to do. In the session, you may focus on both desires and boundaries, or you may simply choose to focus on the one that stands out the most. Today, we will be creating the safety to communicate your desires and boundaries. Let's begin. Let's take a moment now to massage underneath the sore spot, underneath the collarbone, and close your eyes for a moment. And as you massage, tune into your life. Are there any relationships where you feel like your desires or your boundaries are not being met? Perhaps when it comes to desires, there's something you really want out of a relationship, but you've been too scared to ask or communicate about it. Perhaps there's a boundary where you feel like someone has taken advantage of you or is taking advantage of you, and you need to communicate it. And as you scroll through your relationships, let's find one that has a bit of charge. Perhaps you're scared to have that communication because you don't want to hurt the friendship, or you don't want to lose that love, or you don't want to get fired from work by expressing what you're not enjoying. Because often we don't express our desires and boundaries is because we're scared of losing something. Let's feel that right now, and then repeating after me, tapping in the center of the chest. I would really like to ask for what? If you could just have anything in that relationship and not have to risk being laughed at or yelled at or reacted to, what would that thing be? I would really like to create, tell me what it is. Tapping between the brows, but part of me is afraid to have this communication. Tapping the temples, part of me is afraid to express my true desire or my boundary. Tapping the cheeks, I'm afraid of messing it up. Tapping underneath the nose, I'm afraid of, what are you afraid of happening? I'm afraid of. Tapping underneath the lips, I'm really afraid of. Which is why I haven't communicated it. Tapping the center of the chest, which is why I'm holding myself back. Which is why I feel uncomfortable in this relationship. And just tune into how that feels when you're not letting them know what your needs are, when you're holding back that piece of information, that desire for what you truly want, or that boundary that will respect your soul's worth. Feel what that feels like when you hold that back. How does it feel in your body? Tapping the front of the ribs, and just describe out loud what that feels like when you're holding that back. It makes me feel uncomfortable, scared, worried, anxious, resentful. It makes me feel. Tapping the side of the ribs when I'm not communicating what I need. Tapping the top of the head. And part of me is really afraid to do it. And just tuning into any fear that's there around having this conversation. And just holding it in some compassion. Even though I'm really afraid of, tapping between the brows, I love and deeply accept myself. Tapping the temples, even though I'm really afraid of what happening, tell me. Tapping the cheeks, I love and deeply accept myself. Tapping underneath the nose, even if the worst possible thing happens. And just think about the worst possible thing. You could get rejected, you could get shamed, you could get blamed, you could get attacked, whatever that worst thing is. Even if, tell me what happens, I love and deeply accept myself. Tapping underneath the lips, exactly as I am. And I am worthy of love. Tapping the center of the chest. I am worthy of having my needs met. Tapping the front of the ribs. I am worthy of sharing my desires and boundaries. Tapping the side of the ribs, and I'm forgiving myself for holding it back. And just send some forgiveness to yourself right now for holding it back for so long, for compromising your soul's highest vision because of your fears. Tapping the top of the head, I forgive myself for being in a lot of fear. It's understandable. Tapping between the brows, but I'm ready to honor my soul now. Tapping the temples, I'm ready to honor my needs now. Tapping the cheeks, and I forgive myself for not doing it before. And just think about all the times that you held that back, all the times that you allowed someone to step over that boundary, all the times that you didn't speak up about what you truly wanted because you were afraid of rejection. Think about all the times right now where you compromised yourself because you were afraid of what the other might do, think, or say. Tapping underneath the nose, I'm done with holding back my soul power. Tapping underneath the lips, I'm done with shrinking and hiding. Tapping the center of the chest, I'm done with thinking I'm not worthy. Tapping the front of the ribs, I'm done with hiding. Tapping the side of the ribs, I'm ready to have. What are you ready to have in your life? I want to hear you say it. I'm ready to have. I am ready to have, and I know it might be scary to voice it because you haven't voiced it before, but between you and me, I'm ready to hear it. Tapping the top of the head, I am ready to have. How does that feel to just let yourself voice it out into the open? I can share this. Tapping between the brows, I can share what my desires and boundaries are. Tapping the temples. Okay, so tune into what that desire and boundary is. And let's say it out loud. I can share, and tell me what it is you want to share. Tapping the cheeks. And even though I might get rejected, I'm worthy of this. Tapping underneath the nose, I am worthy of. Tell me what you're worthy of. Tapping underneath the lips, and I forgive myself for denying it. Tapping the center of the chest, I forgive myself for thinking I wasn't worthy of it. I forgive myself for thinking my needs didn't matter. And just tune into any times you've held back and just send some empathy and forgiveness to that shrinking and hiding. And just feel that right now. And send some love there and some compassion there. Really hold it in the arms of love. Take a long, deep breath in and release a big sigh. Ah, beautiful. Now tell me, what kind of life could you create? This is step 3 if you're following. If you didn't have this block to communicating your needs. What would be happening in your life if you courageously shared with this person or with the world what you wanted? Who would you become, and what would you call into your life by the power of your choice? What would you magnetize by the conviction in your words? What would you claim as a result of you standing for what you deserve? What would happen if you stood up and said it? And who could you be, and what would you become? Because this is your next step in evolution. And I want you to describe out loud who you would be and what type of life you would create. If this wasn't an issue, I would be what? Tell me, go on a little rant. Tell me all about what you'd be doing, what you would be saying, what you would be claiming. I would be beautiful. And imagine now how the world responds to you when you hold that deep truth and deep honor of who you really are. Because that's where it's coming from. How would people respond when you're holding that deep integrity in your being to honor your being? Tapping the side of the ribs. I can do this. Tapping the top of the head. I'm ready to do this. I am done with putting off my needs. Tapping between the brows. I'm ready to live the life I truly desire. Tapping the temples. And I am ready to let everyone know what that is. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Release a big sigh. Ah, beautiful. Tapping the cheeks. This can be easier than I think. I'm open to this being easier than I think. Tapping underneath the lips. It's possible this can feel really good. Now imagine how good it can feel when you get to honor your soul. It's like the best thing that you could ever ask for, really. When you really get to honor your soul, imagine how good that feels to every part of your being, every part of your life force, that you are so in alignment. Imagine how good that feels when you honor and you hold space for that. And you get to change reality as a result of that. Tapping the center of the chest. It feels like, tell me what it feels like when you bring that into your life. Tapping the front of the ribs. It feels like, describe it, when that power is directing you. Tapping the side of the ribs. I feel really top 3 positive emotions that you feel when you really allow the integrity of your soul to guide your conversations. Tapping the top of the head. I feel really strong. Tapping between the brows, I feel aligned. I feel, tell me what you feel when you're doing that. Tapping the cheeks, and it's possible the time is now. Tapping underneath the nose, I can do this now. Tapping underneath the lips, I've got this. Tapping the center of the chest, I believe in myself. And I'm making it happen today. Beautiful. Imagine now you're just making it happen today. Your soul in all of its power, in all of its glory, showing up and directing your life. Imagine yourself having that conversation right now in that alignment. Feel that right now. Take a long, deep breath in. Release a big sigh. And then just resting your eyes. Big smile. Feel the goodness of how good it feels to honor your soul's impulse, that your life arranges around that. Feel that right now. And then check in on that intensity level. What is the intensity level now? Where at the start, perhaps there was more fear around having that conversation. And where is the number now? How free do you feel? Now let's take a moment together, tuning into that desire or that boundary that your soul is worthy of. And now go ahead and write that down on one line or a few words that describes this on your soul map. And now that you have practiced your desires and boundaries, you are fully ready to practice your soul shift challenge. Head out into the world and share that desire or boundary with someone in your life. Share your experience on this challenge with the tribe, and also always keep up that morning soul tap practice. Good luck, and remember, you are so worthy of having all of your needs met. I will see you tomorrow as we drop deeper into a place of inner security. Bye for now.